You are watching the Spotlight After Show. We just watched the top 9 become the top 6. We're going to analyze all of their performances. We have with us past winner Jake McPheron and one of our judges, Megan Hinkle. Megan, thank you. We have been waiting to have you on the After Show.
Good to know.
We will not boo you here.
That's good. Safe zone.
Oh, yeah.
I want to ask you, Megan, the first question. You also won the second season. What is it like being a judge, especially when you know where those contestants have been standing on that stage staring up at them?
It's different than I thought it would be. I try to consider, like, okay, what would I have wanted as a contestant? And I think, okay, I don't want someone who will just be mean and make fun of me. I want someone who will tell me what to do to improve and, just make me sing better and teach me things, like a little mini voice lesson. So I try to consider that because, the purpose of judges is not just to, like I said, make fun of people, but to actually help. But that only works if people actually take the advice that we give them instead of getting on their little after interviews and saying, well, so-and-so didn't like me, but I don't care.
Hey, good to know that you watch the after interviews, though.
Yeah.
I really wish I could hear you sing, though.
Yeah. You should try
Just
that
heard me sing.
Oh, okay. All right. Just making sure. I'm sorry. I forgot.
I've got to go back when the top 12 sang. That train wreck comment.
Oh, huh?
What was going through your head?
Train wreck comment.
Yeah.
Okay,
Did you try to talk yourself out of it and it just came out? Like, when did you know you were going to say train wreck?
Oh, gosh. Shortly after it began. I try to think, okay, not only do I try to think what's going to help that person, which that's not a good example of that, but I try to think, if I was sitting in the audience, what would I be thinking right now? I would be thinking, Lord, that was a train wreck. And I'm assuming that other people are similar to myself, probably thinking that too, and would probably appreciate to hear that. And I think that it gets boring when the judges are like, oh, honey, it's okay, it was rough. Someone should, we're all thinking it, someone should say it, so.
I was backstage with Sarah Donahue. She records the backstage interviews. And when you said it, even though we were thinking it, I think we didn't expect that one of you were going to say it. So Sarah literally, clutched her chest like she was having a heart attack and said, like it was her out there.
Sorry.
Like I died.
Sarah, I am so sorry.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Lisa and I get into a discussion every week about you on the panel. Because I'm like, Lisa, I can't believe she said that. That was so mean. And then Lisa gets defensive, and she's like, well, we need somebody to do that. And I'm like, I'm not saying she shouldn't be on the panel. I like that she say mean things, and it's cool that you get a response like that. Is that what you go for, or you don't really think about?
No, I mean, I knew going into it, like, okay, I have a musical background, I know about this stuff, and I'm dedicated, to musical integrity to speak this. So I knew that I would be booed. I wasn't expecting it to be as harsh and as often as it is. And about the second week into it, I was like, oh man, I don't think I can do this. People are just rude. And I felt like no one was taking me seriously. Like I said, the contestants weren't taking me seriously. The audience wasn't taking me seriously. So why was I there?
Yeah.
But I just kind of pushed through it, and it's slowly getting better. And now when they boo, I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah, we're glad that you pushed through because Cab, we put the show on, so the boos are just as good for us as the cheering.
Well, good to know. I give you plenty of them.
Yeah, we love it. Jake, we will start with you as far as the performances. How do you think that tonight went overall?
I think as far as performances goes, it was the worst night of Spotlight so far, in my opinion. I think some people had their best performances overall, but it was not the best performances of Spotlight altogether. I think that a lot of people tried to improve, like the ones that tried to improve their performances in singing. Some of them stepped too far out of their zone, out of what they're able to do, and then some people stayed exactly where they were. There's just a lot of consistency when there needs to be some change. So
those, and I think I know who you're talking about, those people that aren't really changing, Megan, how are they going to do when they're the top 6? Because they need to be growing. There are a couple, and I'll just say Sarah Johampton. She sings amazing, but she's not going to step away from country. I kind of hope that you guys just give her the biggest like Aerosmith song or something, just to see what she can do, because it's the same to me. How do the judges kind of feel about that? Well, you can't really speak for all of them, but how do you feel about it?
No, I mean, it's pretty similar. I didn't know how specific we were going to be talking about this, but...
If you don't want to say anything, just say I don't want to say it. I mean, that's fine.
Well...
And then we'll talk about you some other way. Okay.
Yeah, I feel the same way about Sarah Jo. Just like I told her, I felt like I was watching a karaoke version of her songs, and I don't always feel like that, but this week was like painfully, I felt like that. And like I said in another comment to another person, it is obvious who the competition is between the people who are evolving, the people who are really working for it, and those static people. And that's what I'm saying. If someone, I'm not saying who, but if someone like that who isn't willing to change wins, it's not going to be because they deserve it.
Yeah, that's huge. I want to say something on that. That's huge, because if you don't have change, a big part of it is this. I noticed the crowds are huge. A lot of people this year. Mm-hmm. They want somebody to draw them in.
And the votes, the online votes are
that was ridiculous. So you have a ton of people coming out to see performances. And there's a lot of standing still going on. There's a lot of talking. This is the first one I've actually got to sit in the audience. And man, there's so much talking after so much. But the ones that really drew, like Brandy's performance, man, she was crazy good. And people were drawn the entire time. And if you don't have change, like I know last year when I was performing, I'm not, a lot of people don't like soundtracks because they complain about the sound over here. But you have to have versatility. You have to be able to sing to a soundtrack. You got to be able to move, and then you got to be able to say, okay, I can play with an acoustic set. I can play with the soundtrack. I can play with piano. Some people are playing with the exact same instruments every time, and I think it's going to hurt them.
I'm glad that you brought that up as far as Brandy, because she did kind of hush the crowd. Jordan Enfield, for most of his performance at least, I think also hushed the crowd.
Yep.
What I like that Jordan did this time is he kind of stayed still. Sometimes I think that Jordan tends to be a little gimmicky, but he doesn't need to be. Anybody want to weigh in on that?
I feel the same way about Jordan that I do about Ezra. Most of the time when I watch and listen to them, I am visually and audibly exhausted. It's too much for my little brain to process. There's so much going on. So I appreciated both of them.